coming up next, I'm really excited to introduce some of our original collaborators in the Green Filecoin project. Many months ago, when we were first discussing, the initial steps and what we could do, we came across the work of the incredibly talented folks at the Energy Web Foundation. We just knew that we had to work with them. So we got on a call and some magic happened. So it gives me a huge amount of pleasure to introduce some of the folks from there. Today we have Meerim Ruslanova, who's the Traceability Business Lead. We have Andres Schondube, who is the Zero Engagement Associate. And we also have Daniel Lopez, who's the Senior Product Manager. And they're going to talk to us about Energy Web Zero. Take it away, folks.
Great. Thank you so much for the warm welcome introduction. Super happy to be here. Very proud to be partners with Protocol Labs and Filecoin. We actually do not have Daniel physically with us, but his heart is with us. He's a bit sick. So it's me and Andres. So on our agenda today, we'll introduce ourselves really briefly and how we relate to the Crypto Climate Accord. And then we'll dive into one of the specific work streams at Energy Web Foundation, a project called Zero, where Protocol Labs is a very active partner and contributor. And we'll take a step back and look generally at how our technology stack has been applied with traceability in the traceability domain. And then to finish off our presentation, Andres will walk through a demo of a prototype and the experience that the storage providers can expect in the first versions of Zero. All right, so very quickly about ourselves. In addition to being a partner of Protocol Labs and Filecoin, we're a nonprofit foundation, and we build publicly accessible, so open source software tools, mainly revolving around blockchain and decentralized tech. That's the first thing. The second thing is we also lead a huge community of different energy and technology companies to understand their requirements and build the technology together to make sure that everything that we build and that's available to the public actually meets the requirements of the participants from the energy sector. So if you look at the technology stack that we're building, you see here a quick snapshot. It can be a bit confusing, but where we are active is the purple boxes. So our technology stack mainly consists of our own chain called Energy Web Chain. That's a proof of authority with 40 validators coming from the energy space. We have the utility component, so basically the tools that make it easier to use our chain and build apps on top. And then we have the software development toolkits or the SDKs. And those are software tools that help build dApps in specific use cases. And one of them is the renewable energy traceability that we will cover today. And then here's a snapshot of our community. Some of the names might be familiar to you, like Volkswagen, Shell, NG, etc. So in addition to having the community and building the tech, we also launched a Crypto Climate Accord initiative that my colleague Sheena will be talking about slightly later. The idea is to set decarbonization targets for the crypto industry and make sure that there are more and more players like the Filecoin and Protocol Labs out there. So in the spirit of this initiative and our active work within the traceability domain, we started working on a project called Zero. And I will jump into describing the project briefly in a second. But before that, I'd like to do a little exercise for everyone who's on the line. And for that, you would just need to use your fingertips and the chat box. I'd like to understand the level of awareness or familiarity with traceability and why it's important to track renewable electricity. So if you can input your answer A, B, C, D, and there can be more than one answer in the chat box, that would be great. So why is it important to track electricity? Once it enters the grid, it's impossible to track it back. Tracking electricity helps governments and others to achieve their targets, and consumers actually want to see the origin or none of the above. So if you can go ahead and put a letter or several letters in the chat box, that would be great. And the correct answers are A, B, and C. So great job, everyone. So basically, the purpose of tracking the origin of electricity has many, many different angles. And one of them, which is very important, is to show to the environmentally conscious consumers that also relates to the Filecoin network where the energy is coming from, and to make sure that the renewable energy can be attributed to the consumption, to your consumption. That's where the concept of renewable energy certificate comes in. So when you track the origin of electricity, you need a certificate that actually has all the information about the plant, the generating plant, where the electricity has been produced, how much, at which point of time. And so these instruments are super useful for policymakers to track progress, to incentivize renewable energy consumption, and also are useful for companies seeking to greenify their electricity consumption and show that they are reducing their environmental impact. So RECs actually are quite common around the globe, and they have different names like GOs in Europe, IRECs in the rest of the world, NFCs in Japan, etc. But it's essentially the same mechanism. It's a certificate certifying the unit of energy and where it's coming from. So we have another exercise, and this is the last one for the day, I promise. By procuring RECs, what can storage providers claim? And here we have 4 response options. Again, it's just like the last time, and you can choose more than one answer. So can they claim that this renewable electricity was physically delivered to the storage provider? Can they claim that this electricity is attributed to their consumption? Can they claim that they have fully decarbonized all of their operations, so basically achieved net zero, or none of the above? Looks like we have a consensus. So it's most people think it's B. There is one response about the C, and the correct answer is B. So why C is not the correct answer? The caveat here is all, right? So by procuring RECs, you're covering your electricity consumption, which is the majority of your carbon footprint. But as what we saw from the research project presented earlier, there are also other emissions that are coming out from your operations. That could be, for example, the hardware. So RECs cover the majority portion of the electricity, but not everything, if that makes sense. Great. So now, as we are familiar with the concept of RECs, it's time to look at the Project Zero, which, in simple terms, would be a global decentralized hub for posting your renewable energy supply and also being able to find, compare, and source renewable energy. And we're starting with the simplest concept in the renewable energy world, which are the RECs that we have seen already. And this slide just shows how Zero becomes this hub that connects different types of renewable energy suppliers and different types of renewable energy buyers. So with the hub of the CCA, we are covering a lot of the crypto buyers, but Zero, of course, can be also used by other organizations or even individuals. And the whole idea for creating Zero is to provide this user-friendly, transparent, and verifiable way to procure renewable energy and be able to report your progress. And as simple as it sounds, there hasn't been a tool like that out there, and there hasn't been a platform that's shared and trusted by different stakeholders all around the world. And actually, Alan here knows this firsthand. That being said, when we take a step back and see, why did we even think about traceability in the first place and Zero with decentralized technology? The answer is pretty complex, but to simplify, In the market of renewable energy, traceability and other decarbonization products, there needs to be trust, and there needs to be a shared platform between different market participants, as well as efficiency in terms of costs and speed, because of the number of transactions, volume, and different geographies. And for this reason, decentralized tech actually offers a really suitable solution to the problem. And our vision is to design Zero and our tools to make sure that we cover the entire life cycle, so the end-to-end of renewable energy procurement, and specifically starting from RECs, where we create the digital identities for everyone who participates on the supply and the demand side. Make sure that we document every unit of energy. We document the change of ownership, and also we capture when the certificate is used for consumption purposes, right? And then the certificate cannot move to anybody else any longer or cannot be double counted. So this was the aspiration behind our work in traceability and application of blockchain and other decentralized tech in this space. That being said, now I'm giving the space to Andres, who will walk us through the prototype.
Welcome to Zero. As Meerim said, this is only a preview. We're still working on it. It's wireframes that have been designed by our team, but just so that you have a wider understanding of how Zero is going to look like, here's the landing page. So a storage provider interested in sourcing renewables from Zero would come into a page as this one. Some of the figures or wording that you'll see here are placeholders, but we hope that this gives you an idea. So again, it's the landing page. If a storage provider wants to source renewables, you'd probably go into the specific crypto user journey that we've built along with Protocol Labs. So once you click on it, you have the opportunity to actually choose different protocols. So here you can already see Bitcoin, and you can see Filecoin as well. Once you choose Filecoin, you have a different look, something closer to home, probably. But once you go further, you'd be able to add your information. And this is a key part. So in this section here, you're already seeing that you can provide a miner ID, you can provide a country, a specific region, a generation and start date and end date, and you can do this for many regions. Now, once you enter this this information, you send out a request to Zero, which then matches that request. Some options, you can actually hint out to the supplier that you are willing to do wire transfer. Traditional energy suppliers work with invoicing systems, but maybe some of them will be encouraged to accept crypto payments. So that's another interesting opportunity that we're actually encouraging. And yeah, before sending the request, you can confirm. Here's a small summary of the regions, the energy amount that you want to procure or source, and that request Zero would actually receive that offer, as you are seeing now in this screen, and would match it. So now you have this wireframe where you see a supplier, in this case John Smith, who's supplying renewable energy certificates from France, and it's 3 megawatt hours at a specific price. And you have the opportunity or the option to decline or accept the offer. This is a short summary of the information, and it's not as detailed as we want it to be. In the future, we'd encourage suppliers, or in the next versions, we want suppliers to post as much as information as they can related to their devices. So in that way, you can know where the devices are, what if they're supporting specific causes, or if they have higher impact than just traditional hydro, for instance. And well, moving on forward, once you accept the offer, you actually have the ability to either choose crypto, or you can actually do both, but you can say, yeah, you'd be connected with the supplier. You'd be giving him the information about the payment method that you'd be interested in having, and then you'd submit that information. And once it's submitted, you'd actually be matched, and Zero would match that request. And here, what you're now seeing is once the match is done and the certificates are transferred, as Alan already showed you, you have these pages where you, as a storage provider, would come in and navigate through the supply or the certificates that have been delivered towards your way. As Alan already mentioned, he pointed out that there's several information about the supplier address, the country where you sourced energy from, the energy source, and this is all great information right now. These pages are currently live, and this is what we have been working on. But for the next iterations with Protocol Labs, our goal is to have something like this actually go through the crypto journey that we just showed you. So that's going to be something new, additional, that we didn't have in our first iteration. But besides this, now the goal is to have the blockchain proof. So not only will you have the redemption statements that are linked to the certificate registries, but you'll also have the verifiable record of the transaction that happened on chain. And this is where our future vision and our next iteration is going to. And so as of now, the pages are live, but our next work will focus on having this information recorded on chain and having the storage providers that will join this next round go through the crypto journey. And if you're interested in learning more about the tools that we are building, and you're interested in contributing into shaping up this journey, Zero in general, we'd be happy to connect. Your ideas can help us build this tool in a better way so that it can actually meet your requirements and needs. And yeah, we'd be really happy to speak out with you. I think that's all from our part. We're very, very excited and looking forward for the next iteration and working together with Protocol Labs. Thank you very much, and I hope this short glimpse gives you a wide idea of what Zero is all about. Thank you.